KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Breaking overnight, one person is in the hospital following a wreck on the Marshall Sharp Access Road. We'll have the latest details for you.
Plus, a fugitive from the Buckeye State is captured here in the Hub City. Find out why the U.S. Marshals are not done hunting yet. And the search for a new Supreme Court justice is down to 3. We will break down the resumes of the contenders.
We're also getting reports this morning of possibly a fire on a train in East Lubbock County. We're checking on that, so if we get some information, we'll let you know.
KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, a stabbing in North Lubbock sends one person to the hospital. We'll have the very latest from that scene.
Plus, the relationship between the U.S. and North Korea appears to be getting stronger. Find out about the latest meeting between the two countries.
KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, memories of Hurricane Harvey in the minds of Houston residents following heavy flooding there. Find out what the city was able to do, though, to deliver a strong finish to Independence Day. And we have an update for you this morning on that semi-truck driver who had his arm pinned under his cab for over 2 hours this week.
And we are continuing to follow wildfires in the west as a major fire in Colorado destroys more than 100 homes.
This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
It is 6 o'clock and the phone lines are open for the 2018 South Plains Honor Flight Telethon. Every dollar donated will help send area veterans to see their war memorials at the nation's capital. And a 4th of July terror plot foiled by the FBI. Find out how the government stopped this potential holiday attack.
Plus, a miracle in Thailand after 12 boys and their soccer coach are found alive in a cave, but those rescue efforts aren't over yet.
This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, 5 people are dead and a gunman is in custody following a shooting at one of the nation's oldest newspapers. This morning, we will take a closer look at that tragedy.
And despite their pain and suffering, the staff at the Capitol Gazette have published today's edition of the paper.
And here at home, the Municipal Auditorium and Coliseum are now one step closer to being owned by Texas Tech. Find out what needs to be done to make that happen now that the city has voted. And after a heartbreaking exit in Omaha, we'll tell you which Red Raiders are ending their college careers early to turn pro.
Plus, problems on the border continue as some lawmakers visit sites housing children separated from their parents.
This is KCBD News Channel 11's Daybreak Today.
Now at 6 o'clock, one of the symbols of American muscle is moving some production overseas. Find out what drove this company to this decision. Plus, punishment has been handed down to 6 Texas Tech students for racial social media posts. We will tell you how heavy-handed the punishment was.
And 2 wildfires are forcing evacuations in Northern California as crews work to put out those wind-driven flames.
Good morning. It is now 6 o'clock, and a lot of us, I didn't hear the thunder last night.
I heard it before I went to bed.
Yeah, but I did hear the rain.
Yes, and for the airport, up to about 1/3 of an inch so far out of this whole thing. A little bit later, some rainfall totals, but first, there's rain falling right now in the central part of the viewing area. We've just had some light rain showers move through Lubbock, so some roads are wet right now. Have some pretty good showers producing occasional claps of thunder that have drifted into the Lynn County area, southern Lubbock County, and again, these showers are moving from east to west, along with an outflow boundary that's been moving through the area. So some pretty good rain falling on Highway 84 right now in the Slayton area. Now, in terms of our forecast here in Lubbock, chance of rain on the low side continues this morning. Again, not expecting any severe storms. Temperatures in the 70s. Winds will be just a little breezy, except for winds that may be generated by storms. Not expecting any severe storms, but we may still get some gusty winds. And as we head into the afternoon, the potential for those spotty storms will be back, and that means at least a slight chance of rain. Coming up in just a few minutes, we'll take a look at some of the rainfall reports and the forecast for the 4th of July.
Steve, thank you. We are following breaking news coming in overnight from North Lubbock. Let's go straight to Jenna for those details.
Sharon, right now one person is in the hospital following a stabbing at the McDonald's at 102 North University. Our photographer Caleb was there early this morning as police were marking off that scene. He says they told him they responded to a call regarding a civil disturbance around 12:45 And when they arrived, they found one person with multiple stab wounds. That person was taken to UMC. Officers shut down the drive-through area of the McDonald's, and a large part of Amigos was also taped off. They also blocked off the alley behind Amigos you see on the right of the screen near the Acacia Mobile Home Park. Sharon.
All right, thank you. Well, the relationship between the U.S. and North Korea took another step forward following last month's meeting between the country's leaders. Yesterday, a team of U.S. and North Korean officials met in a village between North and South Korea. This marks the first face-to-face talks between these two countries since President Trump and Kim Jong-un met in Singapore. Yesterday, National Security Advisor John Bolton said Secretary of State Mike Pompeo would be discussing denuclearization with North Korea in the near future. The National Security Advisor also said if North Korea was cooperative, they could possibly receive sanctions relief. The Trump administration is working on a bill that would grant the president powers to boost tariffs without Congress's consent. That's according to a White House insider. He said President Trump requested the bill. It would also allow the U.S. to stop abiding by some standards put into place by the World Trade Organization. That same insider stressed this proposed legislation is the beginning of a conversation over trade rather than a signal that the U.S. is abandoning its role within the WTO. This bill would likely be challenged in Congress. Meanwhile, the retaliatory tariffs imposed by Canada against the U.S. are now in full effect. Yesterday, the Canadian government imposed those tariffs on U.S. exports worth more than $12 billion U.S. dollars. That amount is based on the amount of steel and aluminum Canada shipped to the U.S. last year. Canada was also the largest exporter of steel to the United States. More than 40 U.S. steel products are now subject to tariffs of 25%, and a tax of 10% has been levied on over 80 other American items, including toffee and maple syrup. U.S. tariffs on Canadian steel and aluminum went into effect on June 1st. Well, more than 10,000 Mexicans are deported from the United States every month, some of whom have lived here for decades. Reintegrating into a place that no longer feels like home can be difficult, and finding jobs can be difficult, but there is a restaurant in Mexico City that is trying to make that transition a little bit easier. A large chunk of the staff at Texas-style barbecue restaurant Pinche Gringo are Mexicans who have been deported from the U.S. Many have lived here for years. The restaurant's co-founder, who is from New York, says he likes to hire deportees because they have experience working in the States and they help give the restaurant its down-home atmosphere. The staff said working in the restaurant has made the transition a little bit easier.
New overnight, Andres Manuel Lopez Obrador has won Mexico's presidential election. The leftists swept the elections with over 50% of the national vote. That was a wide margin from his nearest competitors, who all conceded after winning just 20%. Huge crowds all over Mexico City gathered to celebrate last night. Obrador admonished the U.S. in a speech saying Mexico would defend and support their own who honorably work in the United States, and insisted relations must be based on mutual respect. Sharon.
Thank you. A former administrator for Texas Tech is headed to the White House for his next assignment. The Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs confirmed Dr. Tibor Nagy to be the Assistant Secretary of State for African Affairs following his June 14th confirmation hearings. In December, the Hungary native retired from Tech after more than 14 years as Vice Provost for International Affairs. Nagy graduated from Tech in 1972. He's also been ambassador to Guinea and Ethiopia and has advised several presidential candidates and presidents. As our country celebrates Independence Day, we hope that you will help honor those who fought for our freedom. So KCBD is gearing up again this year to host the South Plains Honor Flight Telethon. Now, the Honor Flight takes veterans free of charge to Washington, D.C. so they can visit the memorials built to honor them and the wars they fought in. You can be a part of making sure they get that once-in-a-lifetime opportunity free of charge. So the 2018 Honor Flight Telethon kicks off tomorrow right here on Daybreak Today starting at 5 a.m. To donate, please tune in and give us a call tomorrow morning. We'll have the number for you, but it's 855-HONOR-11. Wednesday is the 28th annual 4th on Broadway celebration at McKenzie Park, but 4th activities have already started. Over the weekend, there was the La Raza on the Plaza concert downtown Saturday night, and then tomorrow night is the FiberMax Texas Country Street Dance. That dance starts at 7:30 at the Lubbock County Courthouse Square there by the courthouse. Mike Ryan will be the headliner. He will be joined by Cody West and Grant Gilbert. Tickets are $20. And then events on the 4th start at 7:30 in the morning with the Yankee Doodle Dash and Sparkler Sprint. Then the parade gets underway at 9 a.m. at Broadway and Avenue M and heads east to Canyon Lakes Drive, goes through McKenzie Park and ends at Parkway. Afterwards, then head to McKenzie Park for all-day fishing, kids activities, and musical entertainment, followed by the fireworks show that evening with the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra at 10 o'clock. More information can be found at kcbd.com and on our free mobile app. And if you are making plans to attend any 4th of July celebrations, you are encouraged to go ahead and plan for a safe ride home. AAA Texas says it is offering a last resort program called Free Tipsy Tow statewide from 6 p.m. Wednesday to 6 a.m. Thursday. You can call the numbers you see here on the screen. You might want to jot them down or put them in your phone for a free tow and ride home up to 10 miles. This is only for a driver of that vehicle being towed and is only one time and one way. AAA says drivers should designate a non-drinking driver, of course. Call for a cab or an approved ride-sharing service for you to get home. It's now 6:08, still ahead. LeBron James decides where he will be playing next. Find out where he will set up his kingdom now. And we will walk you through a movie-style prison break in France.
Some rain, occasional thunder falling right now. Well, thunder's not falling, but the temperature is 73 degrees. That's fallen a little bit. We'll check in on the potential for additional rainfall coming up.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It's now 6 o'clock, and of course, that's such a good news story. When I heard that yesterday they had found those boys, I got teary-eyed. I got very emotional. So we have that. The Honor Flight Telethon's going on, and Kelly's in for Steve today to bring us some weather. And
that's right.
Good rain overnight again.
I know. John delivered on the rain. Good for him.
Always
right?
Yeah.
All right. Yes, we did have rain, and in fact, temperatures struggled to reach 90 degrees yesterday, which is good news for those of us who like those cooler temperatures. 0.18 of an inch is what the Lubbock Airport registered for rainfall amounts, and yes, those showers did diminish through the early morning hours, and we're going to continue to be relatively dry throughout most of today with that opportunity for an afternoon shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures right now across the West Texas Mezonite, 68 degrees at Texas Tech's campus, 58 degrees in Clovis, 70 degrees currently in Post. The wind is variable in direction and relatively light in speed, and we're going to continue to see those temperatures increase today to be high temperature around 97 degrees, and the wind speeds are going to become relatively breezy throughout the day from the south. Tomorrow, temperatures are going to be warmer, but we will be dry, which is going to be good news for those fireworks.
All right, thank you. Well, rescue efforts are underway and hopes are high after all 12 boys and their soccer coach missing in a cave in Thailand were found alive. Jen has been following the situation from day one and has the very latest.
Sharon, emotions are high this morning for the families of those 12 boys and coach trapped in a flooded cave in northern Thailand for 10 days after divers finally reached that small patch of dry land where the boys were huddled together. While they are happy the team is safe, they're still concerned now on exactly how to get them out. Video from Thai Navy SEALs shows the boys surrounded by water in a pitch black chamber. The area where the group is stranded is only accessible via a narrow flooded channel. They're estimated to be about 1.2 miles into the cave and about a half mile below the surface. As of right now, rescue operations are limited. Crews have tried to pump water from the cave, but have been unsuccessful. They may have to bring in breathing masks and then teach the boys to scuba dive because the rain is expected to continue. Crews will also be helping them regain their strength and supplying at least 4 months of food. Meanwhile, police say they are still looking into whether or not the 25-year-old coach will face legal action for leading them into that cave. Sharon.
All right, thank you. Well, this morning, the man accused of stabbing 9 people at a children's birthday party in Idaho is facing a murder charge. Yesterday, 30-year-old Timmy Kenner made his first court appearance following Saturday's incident. He is charged with 9 counts of aggravated battery and 6 counts of injury to a child, along with a first-degree murder charge. The 3-year-old, who was celebrating her birthday, died yesterday shortly before Kenner was arraigned. Boise police said the alleged attack attack was vengeance after the suspect was asked to leave another apartment where he was staying in at the apartment complex. In the days since that incident, that Boise community has come together to pray for the healing and love. Well, on the eve of Independence Day, the FBI has foiled an alleged terror plot that targeted a parade in Cleveland, Ohio. On Sunday, federal agents arrested 48-year-old Demetrius Pitts following an undercover operation. Prosecutors said Pitts got their attention following a tip about his pro-jihadist Facebook postings. 2 weeks ago, the suspect began meeting with a federal agent who he thought was an al-Qaeda operative. According to the U.S. District Attorney, things went to another level last week.
This defendant was walking around downtown Cleveland, conducting reconnaissance on what he thought was a large-scale attack planned for the 4th of July. He looked for locations to park a van that would be packed with explosives.
Now, the FBI said the suspect never had any explosives. He was arrested after he talked about planning another attack later this year in Philadelphia. Pitts is charged with attempted material support of a foreign terrorist organization. And a tragic update for you this morning about the local woman who got buried from her hospital bed last month. Elizabeth Vella died yesterday morning following a battle with an infection. It's been a rough couple of weeks for this family. Last week, the Vella's 12-year-old daughter was hospitalized after she was shot while inside her family's home near 87th and University. The little girl was shielding her 8-month-old cousin. This morning, she remains in critical condition at UMC. And we're also working to get an update on the semi-truck driver who was trapped inside his cab following a rollover accident. It happened last night about 6:30 near East 50th Street and Southeast Drive. Lubbock Fire Rescue crews worked for more than 2 hours to free the unidentified driver's arm from underneath his truck. He was taken to UMC to be treated. As soon as we have an update for you, we will let you know on air and online.
This morning, we're following 3 wildfires burning across the United States today. The first is the County Fire in Northern California, which has burned nearly 60,000 acres now. It started Saturday afternoon in Yolo County. Several nearby areas are being evacuated, but so far no injuries have been reported. And in Central Oregon, the so-called Mecca Fire has consumed more than 700 acres of grass and juniper and brush near the town of Warm Springs. About 30 firefighters battled those flames overnight, and then helicopters will be called in later this morning. And then in northeastern Utah, the fast-moving Dollar Ridge Fire has consumed more than 30,000 acres. Some 300 homes have been evacuated. Sharon.
Thanks, Jenna. Well, you may not put much thought into where you buy your fireworks. Just looking for a stand the closest to you is probably what you do. But for some organizations here in town, it makes a big difference. The Lubbock Cooper Band, for instance, sells fireworks at stands around Lubbock County. In exchange, they get a portion of the profits. This helps the Cooper Pirates Band raise money that they will use throughout the entire year. And there are many other groups just like the Cooper Band working to raise money as well. So if you're wanting to support one of those organizations, don't forget they will be open until midnight on the 4th of July. Red Raiders baseball coach Tim Tadlock received a major coaching award, and that award has made him eligible for Coach of the Year. Yesterday, Coach Tadlock was named the American Baseball Coaches Association and Diamond Midwest Regional Coach of the Year. This season, Coach Tadlock led the Red Raiders to Omaha for the 3rd time during his 5-year tenure. The team finished 6th at the College World Series. Today, he will find out if he is the National Coach of the Year. We sure think he is. And rising Texas Tech junior Josh Young will get to keep wearing the Stars and Stripes a little bit longer. Yesterday, USA Baseball's college national team announced their 26-man roster for the upcoming matchups with Japan and Cuba, and the Tech third baseman made the cut. In 6 games so far for Team USA, Young is 6 for 22 with 2 RBIs. Today, Team USA will take on Japan in the 42nd annual USA versus Japan Collegiate All-Star Series. Now, following 5 games with Japan across the Southeast, the team will then travel to Havana, Cuba to take on Cuba. And today is the 2018 Honor Flight Telethon brought to us by Plains Capital Bank. Monies raised during the telethon will help send our veterans from the South Plains to Washington, D.C. free of charge to see the memorials there and reminisce about the wars they served in. Let's go to Jenna now with more details. Jenna?
Sharon, this is such an incredible experience for these veterans, and this man is in charge of all of it this year. This is Peyton Oldham. He is the president this year. Peyton, I know you have a lot to deal with just getting everything ready, and tell me what it's been like.
It's been busy. It's been really good. This is my 4th year being involved, and it gets easier and it gets harder every year because we're competing with so many different nonprofit organizations that we still have over 250 vets waiting to go on the flight. That's enough for 2 more flights. So it's still, we need the support.
I know you wish you could take everyone, and you do this all at no charge to these veterans. It's such an incredible experience for them. What all do they get to experience by the money donated by everyone here in the community?
So essentially we're going to every war memorial, every service memorial in the DC area. We get to sit down in the House floor with Congressman Arrington. We're going to the Udvar Hazy Air and Science Center. We're going to lay the wreath at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. It's a packed 3 days.
It's such a great 3 days. So you did a great job last year, and you're going to do even better this year as president. So we actually have a great donation coming in this morning, Sharon. Let's go ahead and bring them out here. This is from the Lubbock firefighters. We have Chris Kemp here. Tell us about this donation.
We believe this is a great cause, and we want to give a little bit back to help the veterans. So we're excited to give this donation, and we've done it since day one, and we look forward to doing it again.
How did you guys raise all this money?
We actually have a concession trailer that we put out at the South Plains Fair, and all that money goes towards our charitable organizations. So that's where we raise the money.
I know this is going to make a big difference, and we're really excited about this, but we need these phones to ring because this is only going to cover so many people. You guys are awesome. You did your part. You guys need to do your part as well. Sharon.
1-855-HONOR-11. Please call. It's now 6:10. It was a climb to survive for one Florida teen. We'll have her mother's dramatic 911 call. And we will tell you what additional charges disgraced film executive Harvey Weinstein is facing. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It is now 6 o'clock. A lot of different parts of weather stories across the country, and our weather guy's back with us this morning after a couple days off. I hope you enjoyed it.
I did enjoy it.
Good.
So thanks for letting me go away for a little while.
Let him out of his cage.
Yeah. Weather-wise, a little bit of a change, though. I wish I could take credit for this. Not as hot coming up. We're starting dry, but the potential will be here for a few sprinkles, mainly this morning, and a few sprinkles or even a thunder shower in the afternoon hours coming up. Temperatures right now range from 66 up north all the way to 74 degrees out to the southeast. Rawls at 70. Tech Campus 72, Levelland at 70. Here in Lubbock, we dip down to around 70, perhaps 69 briefly. By lunchtime, 81. Afternoon temperatures in the 80s. We top out today near the 90-degree mark with mostly cloudy skies, looking at that slight chance of some showers. I'll have more detail on that coming up in this next half hour, or this half hour, actually, of Daybreak Today.
All right, thanks, Steve. It's now 6:01. Well, heavy flooding in Houston brought back painful memories of Hurricane Harvey for many of the residents there. First responders and city leaders urge residents to do what they did last summer, that stay inside and stay off the road. Heavy flooding in many areas. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention reports most flood-related drownings do happen when a vehicle is driven into the hazardous water, into the floodwaters. And in the video, you see people were wading and driving through the water. It was as high as 8 inches in some sections of the city. The weather forced the city to cancel its annual Freedom Over Texas celebration, but the city was able to have its annual fireworks show as normal. Now, according to the KCBD weather app right now that Jen has pulled up for us, there is a chance of more rain for Houston today. And the video you are seeing right now is video from the Houston underpass that just shows just how quickly a vehicle can be overtaken by water. It only took 30 minutes for that car to be fully submerged. Rain was falling at about 4 inches an hour for a while. And we're continuing to follow several wildfires that are burning out west where there's no rain, including in Colorado where evacuations are underway today. Let's go over to Jenna for that.
That's right, Sharon. That Spring Creek fire in southern Colorado is now the third largest wildfire in the state's history as it soared to more than 95,000 acres last night. It's burning about 2 hours south of Colorado Springs, and it's just 5% contained. So far, more than 100 homes have been destroyed. This fire started back on June 27th from what authorities believe was a spark from a fire pit. It's one of 70 fires in 6 western states that have burned about 630,000 acres. Also in Colorado, just about 4 hours northwest, the Lake Christine fire started this week by people shooting tracer rounds at a shooting range. 500 homes have already been evacuated as that fire burned close to 2,500 acres and it's 0% contained. We're also still following that massive fire burning in Northern California, but we'll get to that one in just a little bit. Sharon.
Thanks, Jenna. This morning, the woman who climbed the Statue of Liberty is safely back on solid ground following a lengthy waiting game with police. 44-year-old Therese Patricia Okumu scaled Lady Liberty after she participated in an Abolish ICE protest there yesterday. Her actions prompted the evacuation of Liberty Island, which is a big tourist area, leaving a lot of people mad. New York City police officers then attempted to coax her down before they brought out a ladder and climbing gear. Hours after the incident began, 2 officers were able to make it onto the base and then capture her. She now faces several federal misdemeanor charges. The Department of Health and Human Services says it may be able to reunite immigrant children with their parents faster if lawmakers would just stop visiting the detention facilities. HHS Assistant Secretary for Legislation Matthew Bassett claims lawmakers spent 500 hours facilitating congressional visits. He said those hours could have been spent helping children in custody. Last month, President Trump signed that executive order that stops border officials from separating children and families. Still, though, many families separated before the change in policy have not yet been reunited. And Congressman Steny Hoyer has been hospitalized for pneumonia. The 79-year-old Democrat from Maryland was admitted to George Washington University Hospital Tuesday. He is the #2 Democrat in the House behind Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi. A spokesman for Hoyer says the congressman is being treated with antibiotics and is resting and looks forward to being back at work very soon. This morning, the driver of a semi-truck involved in a rollover accident here in Lubbock earlier this week will have surgery to save his arm. That's according to a Facebook message that we received from a family member. Monday night, Lubbock Fire Rescue and EMS crews worked for more than 2 hours to free the man's arm from underneath his truck near East 50th Street and Southeast Drive. He was taken to UMC to be treated following the accident. His mother's also posted this morning. They're asking for prayers before his surgery. We'll continue to update you on this story and his condition on air and online. And the Lubbock Police Department arrested the man accused of robbing a Lubbock donut shop at gunpoint. Officers arrested 44-year-old Jorge Osuna for aggravated robbery for the June 29th incident that you're seeing right here on the screen. Osuna is accused of robbing the Rise and Shine Donuts at 1908 50th Street at gunpoint. He was arrested in Littlefield.
We have new information on that deadly ferry accident off the coast of Indonesia. The captain of that ferry says he realized the ship was sinking and deliberately crashed it into shallow waters to try to save lives. The disaster killed at least 34 people, but more than 100 people were rescued. Passengers were literally hanging on for dear life as the ship tilted sharply into the water Tuesday. And bad weather made the rescue efforts even more difficult. State media reported the ferry had a leak, which caused it to take on water. Sharon.
Thanks, Jenna. This morning, the Lubbock Police Department will continue investigating an accident on Interstate 27 that sent a motorcyclist to the hospital with serious injuries and resulted in the shutdown of that interstate northbound traffic. Just before 8:30 last night, the officers responded to the motorcycle and car crash on I-27 near 34th Street. Both vehicles were headed north. Traffic was diverted at the 34th Street exit. We are working to find out more details about this crash. And a 5-year-old is also recovering this morning following an ATV accident. Last night about 7:15, Lubbock Sheriff and EMS were called to a home near Iona Street and North Quaker for the ATV accident. Relatives at the scene told KCBD the 5-year-old fell off the ATV and then was hit by another vehicle driven by a relative. The family also said the child was wearing a helmet and was alert following the accident.
We're also getting reports this morning of possibly a fire on a train in East Lubbock County. We're checking on that, so if we get some information, we'll let you know.
That's just now coming in. We'll get to that. Thanks, Jenna.
Some rain falling here. Let's take a look at tower cam. You can see some of the drops on the lens there, affecting the way we are looking at the lights right there. But again, a few drops falling here. And on radar, looking at these showers drifting from the east to the west. A little closer look. These are clustered right around the Lubbock County area right now. Northern Lubbock County, southern Hale County around Abernathy, and then eastern and southern sections of the county. So here it is unenhanced, so you can see that shower activity in this 1 hour loop showing up. So we are looking at these rain showers this morning in the area. Most of this will be light rain, but may result in some wet roads. Showers should taper off here over the next couple of hours, and then the chance of some thunder showers this afternoon and this evening. It looks like our best chance of rain in some time. So in a few minutes, we'll take another look at the potential for rain this weekend and some slightly cooler temperatures too. Sharon?
All right, Steve, thank you. It's now 6:01. We begin this morning with breaking news of a motorcycle crash. Let's go to Jenna for the very latest.
Sharon, this morning a motorcycle driver is in the hospital with serious injuries after a wreck on the Marcia Sharp Access Road overnight. Those first calls came in around 2:40 this morning. Police tell us the motorcyclist lost control after hitting the guardrail on the exit ramp and then was thrown from the bike. It happened just east of University by Waco Avenue. We are still waiting to get more information from police on this situation, but we'll let you know as soon as we have something. Sharon.
Thanks, Jenna. This morning, a wanted fugitive from Ohio is behind bars in the Lubbock County Jail. Yesterday, about 4:15, U.S. Marshals, along with Lubbock Police and the Department of Public Safety, arrested 28-year-old David Ramos Contreras at a home near 21st and Avenue P. He was wanted out of Bowling Green, Ohio, for 2 counts of kidnapping and 2 counts of rape in connection to a case involving juveniles. The suspect will be extradited back to Ohio. Now, the U.S. Marshal Service is still on the hunt for 2 other suspects in this case. These are the pictures of them, Arnulfo Ramos and Juan Garcia Rios Adiel. You can see their pictures right here. If you see these men, you are asked to call 1-866-7-WANTED or text WANTED to 847411. Now, we do have these numbers online on our website and also on our KCBD mobile app. DPS troopers have identified the victims in a fatal one-vehicle accident about 2 miles north of Abernathy. Troopers said yesterday about 3:15, a Ford F-250 was traveling south on the interstate when it had a blowout, crossed the median, and rolled, ending up on the shoulder of the northbound lane. The driver, 41-year-old Irvin Eugene Shepard of North Carolina, and a 14-year-old passenger were both pronounced dead at the scene. Abernathy Police and Fire, DPS, and Hale Center EMS all responded. And a sad update to bring you this morning about the victim we told you about in the Independence Day ATV accident. The sheriff's office says 5-year-old Campbell Joseph Longley has died after being thrown from an ATV. That accident happened Wednesday night about 7:30 at 4509 Iona Street off of the Clovis Road. Relatives we spoke with that night said that the boy was on a private ATV track at the time. Sheriff's deputies said Campbell was on an ATV when it collided with another ATV driven by a relative. Campbell was wearing a helmet and was thrown from the ATV. He was taken to the hospital with serious injuries and died early yesterday morning. Funeral services are tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock at Trinity Church.
We are still following about 70 wildfires burning out west, including a new fire that just sparked last night. In Colorado, high wind and low humidity spread the Lake Christine fire to triple its size. Authorities say it's impossible to know exactly how large that fire is, but they estimate it has burned about 4,900 acres. The fire was started at a gun range by 2 people firing tracer rounds. They were not supposed to be doing that because of fire restrictions, so both people have been charged with arson, and they could be ordered to pay up to $1 million to cover the cost of fighting the fire. In Northern California, more people have been ordered to evacuate because of the county fire. It's already burned about 86,000 acres in Yolo and Napa counties, and it's now 30% contained. And then that newest fire in the same region is the Klamathon fire in Hornbrook. It spread to 1,000 acres in just a few hours, and Sharon, it's 0% contained this morning.
Thanks, Jenna. Well, one of the longest tenured members of the Trump administration has resigned. Yesterday, President Trump accepted the resignation of EPA Chief Scott Pruitt. The embattled leader faced an array of ethical questions about his travel spending, security costs, and misuse of government resources. Pruitt denied any wrongdoing. Now, following Pruitt's resignation, the Senate confirmed Andrew Wheeler. He is the current EPA Deputy Director, and now he will be the acting administrator. Wheeler will assume those duties on Monday. President Trump is one step closer to picking a Supreme Court justice to replace the retiring Anthony Kennedy. Sources close to the selection process say he has narrowed his list to 3 federal appeals court judges: Brett Kavanaugh of Washington, Raymond Kethledge of Michigan, and Amy Coney Barrett of Indiana. Now, Kavanaugh and Kethledge both are former law clerks to Justice Anthony Kennedy, while Barrett served as a law clerk for Justice Antonin Scalia. Prior to being a justice finalist, Kavanaugh helped investigate President Bill Clinton, along with independent counsel Kenneth Starr, and served as an aide to President George W. Bush. Conservatives strongly support Judge Kethledge due to his work for gun rights.
We can't underestimate how important the Second Amendment is to the president's base. Judge Kethledge is an avid outdoorsman and hunter.
Amy Coney Barrett is popular with evangelicals who view her as someone that will attempt to overturn Roe v. Wade. Monday, the president is expected to make his decision. A lawyer with ties to the Clintons has joined attorney Michael Cohen's legal team. Lanny Davis previously defended Hillary Clinton and will now represent Cohen, who is currently under investigation by federal prosecutors following an April raid at his home, office, and hotel room. It's unclear what kind of evidence was seized. Cohen is a longtime defender of President Trump and has admitted to facilitating a $130,000 payment to adult film actress Stormy Daniel to keep her quiet about an alleged affair with the president prior to him becoming president. Mr. Trump has denied those allegations. And a scary scene at one of the nation's top hospitals. Yesterday, 2 cancer research buildings at Johns Hopkins in Baltimore had to be evacuated due to possible tuberculosis exposure. The evacuation took place after a tube containing a small amount of TB was dropped, causing its lid to come off on a bridge inside the hospital. Tuberculosis is a serious and infectious bacterial disease that affects the lungs and is spread through droplets that are released into the air from coughs and sneezes. Staff was finally allowed back into the building once the hazmat crew gave the all clear. Well, here at home, Coach Chris Beard and the Texas Tech Hoops team has picked up another big recruit. Yesterday, 4-star San Antonio Wagner guard Kevin McCullough committed to Tech over Kansas State, Houston, Louisville, and Virginia Tech. The 6'6" guard plans to graduate early and enroll in classes in December. Last season, he averaged 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists per game. Now, what you're seeing right here is video of McCullough's commitment video. If you would like to see the entire commitment video, it's pretty cute. Make sure you log on to KCBD Sports app. And it is now 6:08. Coming up, can you spot the mistake on this stamp? We'll tell you how much this costs the U.S. Postal Service. And we'll also show you a touchy moment between a baseball player and a bird.
Have some light rain falling here at the station, 70 degrees. Coming up, I'll show you your chance of rain for the weekend.
Good morning. Thanks for joining us. It is now 6 o'clock.
And it's really nice outside right now. The live tower cam looking northward, just a little bit of cloud cover, a little bit of color in the sky. That haze is still there. Still have humidity that's a bit on the high side. Temperatures right now quite a bit warmer than at the same time yesterday. Yesterday morning, that northeast wind developed. This morning, it's just a light breeze from the south. The airport's 77, Reese is at 72. And as far as temperatures area-wide go, Muleshoe, Friona at 67, Silverton at 66, Tulia 63. Still have some upper 70s to near 80 out to the southeast early this morning. So Lubbock currently is 13 degrees warmer than at the same time yesterday. Little cooler down south. Took a little longer for that outflow boundary cold front to make it into our southern counties. Temperatures coming up this afternoon are going to be quite hot. mid to upper 90s. I'll update you on any rain chance we have in just a little bit, Sharon.
All right, Steve, thank you. It's now 6:01. Well, 6 Texas Tech Tau Kappa Epsilon fraternity members can now call themselves former members after they were removed following a series of racially charged social media posts last week. One of the men involved was also serving as Texas Tech's intra-fraternity council president. He had since apologized for his comments. Yesterday, the fraternity's national spokesman said that the comments made by those 6 members were, quote, disgusting, hateful language that does not align with our values, love, charity, and esteem. Texas Tech is still investigating these posts. And if you would like to see last week's stories, we have them posted on our website at kcbd.com. A local grassroots group is taking steps to get a multi-purpose event center in Lubbock County. Now, the head of the group, Randy Jordan, presented a resolution to the Lubbock County Commissioner's Court yesterday to raise the hotel-motel tax for Lubbock County from 13% to 15% and use that 2% increase to fund a new multi-purpose event center to host lots of events, including dirt events. Precinct 4 County Commissioner Patty Jones spoke to us about the proposal.
This is a facility that has been long overdue for Lubbock, and so just timing is right now to move forward with this. And again, it's not going to affect people's property taxes, and the voters are the ones that's going to get to decide on this. We'll just be calling the election.
If the proposal is approved by the Comptroller's office and then passed by the county commissioners, they're hoping to get it on the ballot in November. The investigation continues into a shooting that left a 28-year-old hospitalized. It happened about noon yesterday near 22nd and Avenue O. Police say 28-year-old Michael Baker was taken to the hospital by a private vehicle to be treated for a gunshot wound to the chest. LPD said the shooting appears to have started because of an argument. At this time, no arrests have been made. And this morning, we are following several wildfires burning in California that are forcing evacuations in the northern part of the state. Let's go to Jenna for more details.
Sharon, a state of emergency has been declared in Northern California, where firefighters are battling those 2 wildfires right now. The first one is the Pawnee fire we told you about yesterday morning in Clear Lake Oaks. That's about 2 hours northwest of Sacramento. That wind-driven fire, which started Saturday, has burned more than 10,500 acres and destroyed 22 structures, and it's 0% contained. CAL FIRE is also reporting another 600 structures are being threatened now. More than 230 firefighters are using helicopters, bulldozers, and other equipment to fight that fire. And then about 2 hours north in Redding, a fast-moving wildfire has forced several people to evacuate there. The Creek Fire has burned about 1,300 acres, and it's 30% contained. It broke out Sunday afternoon and quickly spread. Deputies don't know what started it yet, but they do believe it's suspicious. Sharon.
All right, thank you. Well, this morning, a 77-year-old Long Beach, California man's behind bars accused of killing a firefighter while he was responding to a fire. It happened yesterday morning. The Long Beach Fire Department said that there was an explosion of fire at a senior home there. Well, after the blaze was put out, gunfire was heard inside. The Long Beach Police Department said the resident of the facility, Thomas Kim, allegedly shot and killed the Long Beach fire captain. Police said the suspect also shot and injured another firefighter and a resident. Kim is charged with murder, 2 counts of attempted murder, and arson. And the investigation into the police shooting that left a 17-year-old Pittsburgh boy dead continues. Yesterday, family members, neighbors, classmates, and teachers attended the funeral of Antoine Rose Jr. Last week, the unarmed 17-year-old was fatally shot 3 times by a police officer after he ran away from a traffic stop while being told to stop. The vehicle that Rose was in had been pulled over reportedly because it matched a description of a vehicle that was used in a drive-by shooting, and reportedly guns were found in that car. And no charges have been filed against Officer Michael Rossfeld, who was sworn in just an hour and a half before that shooting took place. This morning, he remains on administrative leave. Well, higher tariffs have caused Harley-Davidson to shift some production back overseas. The Milwaukee motorcycle maker made that decision after the European Union increased tariffs on U.S.-made Harleys. A 25% increase would add about $2,000 to the cost of a bike. The tariffs were in retaliation to the U.S. tariffs placed on steel and aluminum coming into this country. In a statement, Harley-Davidson said the move represents the only sustainable option they had. Yesterday, the company's stock fell 6%.
The search continues this morning for a group of teenage soccer players and their coach in Thailand. Authorities believe they're trapped in a partly flooded cave in the northern part of Thailand. The 12 teenagers and the adult have been missing since Saturday. Investigators believe they crawled into that cave through a narrow channel and got stuck. And they say getting them out will not be easy, but they do believe that the group is alive. Heavy rains halted that search temporarily yesterday, and now flooding is a major concern. Sharon.
All right, thank you. Well, a Texas Boy Scout is dead after a tragic accident in Covington, Georgia. Severe storms hit the Burt Adams Boy Scout camp yesterday. The 14-year-old and another boy took shelter inside their tent, and that is when a tree fell on him, causing traumatic injuries to his head and chest. The boy from Cypress, outside of Houston, was in Georgia for a week-long jamboree for a group of scouts from Texas. The Floyd County Sheriff's Office and the Littlefield Police Department are both searching for 29-year-old Travis Dalton Wilburn. He is a convicted kidnapper wanted on several outstanding warrants, including parole violations out of Floyd County and in Austin. He is said to have violent tendencies, so police say if you see him, please call 911 or your local police. And repairs will continue on 34th Street just west of University over the next 3 weeks. East and westbound lanes will be closed at different times while crews repair the road. Experts say extreme heat caused the road to buckle. Traffic is being diverted around the construction area at this time, so be patient, especially during rush hour. And former Texas Tech and Lubbock Christian University coach Larry Hayes is coming out of retirement. He is headed to Colorado Christian University to coach the softball team there. Hayes is now 74, coached baseball at Texas Tech and LCU. He also coached the LCU softball team for one season. Coach Hayes says this new job is about having fun. He's replacing his son, Shannon Hayes, who is leaving that position. It's now 6:08. Still ahead, we will tell you about the city's big bad bug trap being used to find disease-carrying mosquitoes, and find out why yesterday was not just another day at the ballpark for these members of the Detroit Tigers.
Currently 72 degrees. We have some hot afternoons ahead, and a little later it'll show up in the 7-day forecast, a chance of rain.